These long dog days of summer, I mean, we just made it through a heat wave. Mama was parched through this heat wave. I was hitting up Dunkin' every single day, and I will continue to probably for the rest of my days, but especially this summer. Dunkin' is helping everyone stay cool this summer with its lineup of refreshers. These drinks are packed with bold, fruity flavors and served ice cold. It's amazing. Dunkin' refreshers are the perfect afternoon pick-me-up. I like to start my morning with them personally, and then sometimes I go back for a second one because I'm just feeling crazy. They come in a variety of delicious flavors, including fan favorites mango pineapple and strawberry dragon fruit. And then for a limited time, there's black cherry and there's pink pineapple. I'm going to tell you something right now, and it's a bold claim, let me tell you, but I stand behind it. Pink pineapple will change your life. It is so good. It has me feeling like I'm sitting in a pool, resort side, just living, honey. It's so yummy. Try your favorite flavor with green tea, sparkling water, lemonade, or Dunkin's all-new limeade. I haven't tried the limeade yet, but I'm going to. Usually I get my drinks made with green tea and occasionally lemonade, but I do really like the green tea. Or if you don't want to build your own, try one of Dunkin's curated refreshers like the Cherry Lime Ricky or the Ultimate Pink Daydream. The Cherry Lime Ricky, scrumptious. I could drink like 3 of these a day. They're so freaking yummy. Head to Dunkin' today and find your favorite refresher. Dunkin' refreshers contain less than 1% fruit juice. Limited time offer. Every good detective needs a partner to support them on important cases. Think of a State Farm agent like your sidekick, there to help you along the way in your search for coverage. State Farm can help you choose the coverage you need, whether it's for your home, car, boat, or even RV. With so many options, it's nice knowing you have help finding what fits for you so you can get back to solving all of life's bigger cases. Go to statefarm.com or use the award-winning app to connect with a local agent and get a quote. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hi, Ryan Reynolds here for Mint Mobile. Are you looking for a beach read this summer? May I suggest your big wireless bill? It's got suspense, mystery, a slightly flat, emotional arc, and a shocking twist where you realize you've been overpaying the entire time. Fortunately, though, Mint's story is better. Every plan, $15 a month, even unlimited. That's it. Happy ending, 0 tears.
Give it a try at mintmobile.com/save.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. See terms.
Hey, weirdos. I'm Alaina.
I'm Ash.
And this is Morbid.
Morbid. And it's the 2 of us this week.
It is. It's just me and Ash.
Heyo.
Just us. Just the OGs.
The OGs of the morbid.
But having Em on was a fucking blast, guys.
A blast, and like not to be like fangirl 101, but a fucking dream come true.
It really was. It was kind of surreal. It was like, whoa. And they're just so easy to talk to.
I felt like I was hanging out with an old friend.
Yeah, it truly did. Like, I think they were saying at one point that they felt like they knew us already and that we feel the same way about them. So It was funny that it all just kind of clicked and we were like, oh, we've all just hung out before, right? Like,
it was exciting. And it was exciting and it was just fun and it was a chill ass time.
It really was. These collabs during quarantine have been so much fun because it's just been cool to connect with other creators and just get different points of views, and it's been fun to kind of sprinkle these in.
It is fun. I enjoy it quite a bit. And actually later this week we have a second guest for the show, and I'm sure this one will be easier to guess, but you know, you just never know who it's gonna be.
Awesome. It's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be great.
And you know, like we've been doing, we're going to be doing the same, you know, like just the Ash and I episodes in between. You'll still be getting the same amount of Ash and my episodes. So these collab episodes are just bonus episodes, really. So enjoy.
Exactly. Enjoy. And then actually, we're going to be putting out a Patreon episode in the next couple days. I think I'm recording it tonight with a special guest.
A very fun one.
Yes.
Woohoo!
Special guest.
Special guests all around.
Yeah.
And tonight we're going to be finishing up the fucking hellscape that is John Wayne Gacy.
I'm pretty stoked to wrap it up with him.
Yeah, I'm really psyched to be out of this man's psyche and out of his world after this. I'm going to take a step back from John Wayne Gacy, and you know, I feel like I smell him now, so I need to be away from it.
I'm excited to not be exposed to his psyche anymore.
Right? I'm glad not to be giving it to you. So that's good.
Thank you. The exposed and the expose.
We're glad to be just out of it.
Yeah.
But no, this has been crazy because I found out some stuff during research that I didn't know.
Ooh.
You know, which I always feel like I do. I always end up finding something that I'm like, well, shit.
It is fun.
But it'll be nice to wrap this one up because this one wraps up in a nice bow where we can say bye-bye, John.
Bye-bye. And we can say, kiss my ass. How about that?
Kiss my ass.
Well, before we delve into the end, the finale of John Wayne Gacy, we are going to shout out some shows.
We sure are.
So these are being rescheduled June 2nd and June 3rd. June 2nd is at the Good Nights Comedy Club in Raleigh, North Carolina, and June 3rd is at the Comedy Zone in Charlotte, North Carolina. We will let you know the reschedule dates. We just don't have them yet.
Just hang on to those tickets because they will go wherever we go.
Yes. October 11th, we have 2 shows at Talia Hall in Chicago, Illinois.
That's going to be so much fun, guys. I'm really excited for that one.
July 8th at the Comedy Works South in Greenwood Village, Colorado, which I just found out is sold out.
Yeah, Colorado. Thanks for selling us out.
What? The reschedule date for the Wilbur is I believe it's the 26th, right?
It's going to be in 2021.
Yeah. So that's fun.
So so I think it's going to be March 26th, 2021, I believe. I think that's right. The new date. You'll be informed of it anyways, but we'll make sure to tell you.
And then the 11th of August, we're going to be in Philadelphia at the Punchline Comedy Club. September 16th, we're going to be in Washington, D.C. at the D.C. Improv. The 23rd of September, we'll be in Nashville, Tennessee, 2 shows at Zanies. And last but not least, the 24th of September, Huntsville, Alabama at Stand Up Live.
Alabama. So there we go, guys. We're going to make these happen. We're rolling with it.
We're rolling with the homies. I watched Clueless the other night.
Yeah, such a good show. That actually was a good show. It was a good show at one point.
Wait, was it really?
It was a show. You didn't know it was a show?
I did not know it was a show. I'm pretty sure that movie came out maybe the year I was born.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it did.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, either that or before you were born. And yeah, it was a show at one point, and it had the original Amber in the show.
Oh, but it didn't have Alicia Silverstone?
Oh, hell no. She wasn't going to do a show.
Well, see, then I don't care.
But it still worked. The girl who played Cher Horowitz, I can't remember her name now, and people are probably screaming it at me, but she was great. So
you always say that I'm just like Cher and Clueless, and actually Annie quite agrees with you.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I think everybody listening right now, I think, can agree that you are
100%.
Cher from Clueless.
You know what? I vibe with that, but the only thing that I'm gonna need if I really am fucking Cher from Clueless is that computer program to put my fucking clothes together in the morning.
Yeah, you should have that. Like, I'm actually sad that you don't. I feel like if anybody should have that at their disposal, it's you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. We'll talk to people in Silicon Valley and we'll see if we can
hit me up with a computer
you.
program. App people out there.
What up? App people. So I think on that note, we will just dive right into part 3.
Okay.
The final part of John Wayne motherfucking Gacy.
Where we went from one end of the spectrum to the complete opposite.
Yeah, I mean, I think a perfect segue between worlds is Cher Horowitz.
I quite agree. I don't know why. Do I keep saying I quite something?
You do. You've very much.
Yeah, I don't know if I've been watching like British television or like what the deal is. But
yeah,
I haven't.
Have you been listening? Have you been watching Downton Abbey?
No.
It's very proper. I like it.
Thank you. Also, just before we start, this gnarly thunderstorm just started where I live, so this is like perfect timing.
Yeah, and as I'm looking outside right now, it's getting like super dark and spooky, and I'm assuming it's rolling my way right now, so, you know.
I don't know if you can hear the thunder, but it's fucking insane, and I'm in the attic, so it's shaking the attic.
I love that for you.
That's fun. All right, well, John Wayne Gacy, let's get it.
Well, when we left off in part 2, We had left off when he had brutally murdered 15-year-old Robert Peist on his mother's birthday, which was December 11th, 1978. This same year, which this is just an interesting little note, same year, 1978, before he had killed Robert, he took a photo with Rosalind Carter.
Oh, I've seen this photo.
Yeah, so he took a photo with the First Lady, Rosalind Carter. He was the director of the Polish Constitution Day Parade, which is like, I guess it's an annual parade, and it celebrates the advent of democratic government in Poland.
Fun.
And he was the director. He had been the director for 3 years in a row.
Oh, damn.
And in order to meet Rosalind and get that photo, he had to have Secret Service clearance, which he received.
That is bananas that John Wayne Gacy received Secret Service clearance. What the fuck?
It's beyond words, because in order for him to get that, they talked to, like, later when all this was found out, they talked to because the Secret Service got a ton of shit for this, because they were like, you literally let the most prolific serial killer in American history at that point into a photo with the First Lady of the United States of America.
Yeah.
Like, what happened there? What breakdown of community? Because it's not like he was this squeaky queen.
He was
like,
not a squeaky queen.
No, he was not a squeaky queen at that point. No, he was not a squeaky clean little innocent boy at that point. He had a sodomy charge on him that he went to prison for before this.
And then, like, multiple other accusations. No, and not even accusations. They fucking happened, but...
Well, and when they asked the Secret Service later, they were like, what happened there? Why did you not? And they were like, yeah, we might not have looked into, like, where he lived before those records.
Good.
So they literally
Good.
admitted we didn't check to see where he lived before if he had a record. So he had that record, and they just let him skate by.
Which loosely translates into, we didn't feel like doing our job that day.
Like, holy shit, the incompetence. That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So that's just crazy. Now, going back to after he killed Robert, he said that he stripped him of his clothes, and he stuffed cloth down his throat, because remember, that's, like, his thing. And he does that, like I said in part 2, because he doesn't like that after you die, you tend to leak fluids, and that can get messy. So he stuffs something down your throat so it doesn't come out of your throat.
That's awful.
Yeah, super awesome. So he went through Robert's clothing, and like he liked to put the clothing, which this is really fucked up. He drives a lot of the boys' clothing to a Salvation Army clothing donation box. Yeah. And he did that with Robert.
You're shitting me.
I am not shitting you.
So he's like,
and he'll just, yeah.
That's fucked up.
Yeah, he's just donating his victims' clothing. So people unknowingly could have been wearing this kid's not only clothing, but the clothing he died in.
That's like, well, it is worse, but it reminds me of, was it Ivan Milat, who was his girlfriend was wearing the shirt
There's
of
a
one
photo.
of his victims?
Yep, there was a photo of her wearing the shirt, and it's haunting as fuck. But he's dead, so fuck that guy. So he went through Robert's clothing, he went through the pockets, and he liked to just take things out, because as we find out later, John Wayne Gacy loves to keep trophies. He loves to keep things. He was keeping he would keep bracelets, rings, licenses, just anything. He would really just keep anything, and it really bit him in the ass later, because a lot of them were traced back to his victims. So he went through the pockets, and he ended up finding a receipt from the pharmacy where Robert worked, where he had picked him up from.
Uh-oh.
And it was a receipt for developing film. So Gacy took that, and he just kind of put it away. Now, so then he drove to the Salvation Army donation box, dumped his clothing, and this is that same evening, Robert's parents went to the Des Plaines Police Department and reported him missing.
Okay.
Like that night at like 11:30, I believe it was. Because again, he was an honors student. He was a good kid. He was close to his family. This was the wrong victim to choose. Not that any of them deserve it at all. But this was the one that was going to get him caught.
This is a big mistake.
Yeah. But he liked to choose, victims that would be, like a lot of these assholes choose, that would be quote unquote less dead, you
Right,
know, like
right.
sex workers and transients and drug addicts. It's people who these assholes assume the police are not going to allocate a lot of resources for, and that their families are probably not going to be looking for them because they assume they're runaways. But so December 12th, the day after Robert was abducted and killed, Gacy's now suddenly being looked at by the police.
Bum,
So
bum,
very
bum.
quickly, they were like, yeah. He was the last person seen with Robert, and he was seen at the pharmacy by plenty of people. And he's a known creep when it comes to teen boys.
Right.
Like, everyone knows he's a fucking creep. So he was called on December 12th, and the police were like, what do you know about this disappearance? And he was like, I don't know anything about it. Like, yeah, I saw him last night, but I didn't do anything. So Lieutenant Joe Kozenzak was put on the case. He was only named chief of detectives a year before this. So he was like pretty new, but he was like, fuck this guy. I'm going to get this guy.
Okay,
Like, he was immediately
good.
like, yeah. Now, Lieutenant Kozenzak actually had a son, Robert's age, who went to the same high school as Robert. And he was like, I just felt compelled. He was like, he's like, I know you're not supposed to like put it in like personal terms, but I immediately felt like I had to find this kid.
Well, and it's like sometimes I feel like it's good to do that because it
helps.
It's like you have a horse in the race. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like it motivates you because you could put yourself in their parents' shoes. You know,
Right,
I want
right.
to find this kid for that family.
Mm-hmm.
So the lieutenant, he checks out the pharmacy, Neeson Pharmacy, where Robert was working and where he was abducted from. And he found out that the place had been recently renovated. Now, who did the renovation work, you ask?
John Wayne Gacy's squad.
PDM contractors.
Good.
Yeah, and you know, as we know, that's John Wayne Gacy's company that he ran basically to abduct, rape, and murder young teenage boys. So now he had that connection, and he finds out from witnesses that Gacy was indeed the guy who everyone saw chatting with Robert that evening. And they said he was asking him about a contracting job. He was telling him he could make him money. Like, people watched this whole conversation. Now, remember, he told his mother he was seeing about a contracting job when he called her on the phone. Mm-hmm. He was like, this guy is asking about that. And so this was sloppy as fuck because he's left such a breadcrumb trail to what was going on. People saw him talking to John Wayne Gacy. They see him talking to John Wayne Gacy about a job. He called his mother and told him, I talked to this guy named John about a job. And then all of a sudden he goes missing.
I mean,
like,
thank
John,
God that this one went so horribly wrong.
Yeah, it was just sloppy as fuck on Gacy's end. And you can tell that he was getting very big for his britches, being like, I can do this and no one's ever going to catch me. So like I said, Robert was a really good kid, never gave his parents any reason to believe he would run away. They were just like, no, that doesn't make any sense.
So sad.
So Lieutenant Kozenzak felt like he was like, this is now my mission. I'm going to do this. So he immediately had his detectives searching through missing persons reports, and he was like, find similar victims, because now we're going to start piecing these together. Because he was like, I think this guy did something. So at 9 p.m., Lieutenant Kozenzak and 3 other detectives knocked on the door at Gacy's home.
Dun, dun, dun.
And he answers the door, and they're like, hey, we would like you to come down to the station for questioning. So Gacy is like annoyed, and they said he was just like, ugh, and he's like, I have to wait at home for a super important call from my mother because my uncle passed away. And so the detectives are like, yeah, you know what, this is about a missing kid, like, we really need you to come down, this is really important. And they were like, can you either just wait, you know, take the call later, or can you call your mother now and like get this over with so we can take you down? So he's pissed, and then he accuses Lieutenant Kozenzak of having, quote, no respect for the dead.
Are you kidding me?
This man, who is standing in his home, which contains the bodies of over 30 teenage boys rotting under his feet that he brutally tortured, raped, and murdered, is standing there telling this lieutenant, you have no respect for the dead.
And if you picture this conversation like I am, it was probably at the front door, which is literally right over one of the dead bodies.
Exactly. And guess what? While they're having this conversation, Robert Pice's body was upstairs in his attic.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So they agree finally. They're like, you know what? Whatever, wait for the call. But they were like, we want you to come in after the call.
Right.
So we're going to be waiting for you to come down. So at 11 p.m. that evening, John Wayne Gacy calls the police station back and he's like, do you still want me to come in for questioning? And they're like, yeah, get here immediately, you sloppy fuck. So
Direct
I
quote.
bet that's exactly what they said. Get here immediately, you sloppy fuck. So he's like, all right, give me a half hour. I just got to get ready. I'll come down. So 1 a.m., he still hasn't shown up. So that's like 2 hours later.
It's like, what do you have to get ready for? Like, just put on some pants and come on over.
Well, that's the thing. They're like, what is he doing? Well, what he was doing was he was getting Robert's dead body from the attic, driving it to the Des Plaines River, and tossing it in.
On his way to
Now-
the police station.
Yeah, to go tell them that he didn't do anything. Now, that fucker doesn't show up until after 3 a.m. And he's covered in mud. Like, covered. So the detectives weren't there at this point. He was like, I want to talk to Lieutenant Kozenzak. And they were like, he's not here and we're not calling him in because you're disgusting. So they were like, no.
Another
So they were
direct
like,
quote.
yeah, they were like, come back in the morning, you dumb asshole. So he shows back up at 9:15 a.m. and it begins. So he denies everything. He's like, no, I don't know anything about this kid. I don't know anything. We talked about a job. That was it. I left. He went home. That was it. And they were like, yeah, that's not what happened. But Lieutenant Kozenzak had ordered background checks, obviously. And Gacy's came back with all his fucking nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like the sodomy charges, the assault charges, all this shit. So when he saw that he had served prison time for sodomy of a teenage boy, his antennas immediately went up.
like,
and he's
ding,
like,
ding,
this
ding.
dude is lying. Yeah.
Right.
So Kozenzak went to Circuit Judge Marvin J. Peters, and he was like, we need a search warrant for Gacy's house.
Oh my God.
And
Can
he
you
got it.
imagine?
Yeah. So this is when it gets crazy. So investigators show up at the home and they begin their search. And while this is going on, Gacy's neighbor walks over because he's like, what the fuck is going on? Because remember, the neighbors love him. He's a weird guy, but he's a great guy. That's how they all feel.
Yeah.
So they're like, what's going on at John's house? So they walk up. The neighbor walks up to one of the police officers and is like, what the hell is happening? And they're like, yeah, we can't reveal to you why we're searching the home, but, we're just doing a search. So the neighbor was like, just so you know, there's an attic and a crawl space in that house. Like, I don't know if you should know that, because they were like, it's like hard to tell from the plans. And they were like, I don't know what you're looking for, but like there's two of those places.
Good
so the
hiding
police are like,
places.
cool. Yeah, so they're like, cool. So at first they didn't really take it that seriously because they're not looking for 30 plus dead bodies. They're looking for Robert.
Yeah.
And that's all. That's all they think is happening here. They think they were looking for one kid.
I know. I'm actually glad you said
That's
that
it.
because in my mind, I'm like, they're looking for like blood splatter or something like that. And then I'm like,
Oh,
wait,
yeah,
no, they're
no.
literally looking for a kid.
They're literally looking for this 15-year-old kid. That's
Right.
all they're looking for. So they ended up taking a ton of shit from the house. And what they took was his 1979 Oldsmobile Delta 88, his work van for PDM, and his 1978 Chevy pickup that he also used for PDM.
Okay.
So what they also found, and I found a list from this book, The Man Who Killed Boys, and I will list all these books again. I listed them in the first two parts, but I'll list them again in this show notes.
Cool.
What they took from the house was they found a piece of rug that had stains. Now, the rug didn't have stains on top. It was like they lifted the rug up and they could see someone had cleaned the top, but it had leaked into the bottom.
Oh.
So they took that section of rug. They took clothing, a pair of yellow underwear, color photos of drugstores, an address book, more than a dozen books, including Bike Boy, Pederasty, Sex Between Men and Boys, 21 Abnormal Sex Cases, Tight Teenagers.
Ew.
Yep. The American Bicentennial Gay Guide. And they also found 7 porn films, a hypodermic needle and syringe, weed and rolling papers, bottles of pills, including Valium, a scale, a switchblade knife, a pistol, handcuffs and keys, nylon rope, 39-inch long 2x4 board with holes in it, the rack, A temporary driver's license belonging to Michael B. Baker, one of the victims.
Oh, no.
A Maine high school class ring with the initials JAS, which we find out who that belongs to later. A driver's license issued to James O'Toole, another victim. And the coup de grace, the receipt from Neeson Pharmacy for the film from Robert's pocket.
So just like stuff in everybody's home.
Yeah. So, we all have, switchblade knives and, clothing from dead people.
Nylon
and,
rope. Just the
yeah,
casual necessities.
And a torture board,
It makes me so sad, too, that, like, books like that even exist. Like
I know.
What
Well,
did you
it's
say?
like,
between grown-ups and teenagers? Like, fuck
yeah,
that.
like sex between men and boys.
That's
like,
horrific.
That's fucked up.
If you wrote that,
And, like, tight teenagers, what the fuck?
like those,
And then,
that's not porn. That's like a whole different thing.
yeah, that's pedophilia.
It's gross.
And it's like, and the list included like the American Bicentennial Gay Guide, which I was like, that's like a normal book, but it's
Right.
like, but it's attributed to him because of the whole like enigma of him being very like put off by being called gay,
Right.
but also saying he's bisexual, but also saying he's straight at times. It's just a very odd thing. So they also found hair in his vehicles, and a cadaver dog was used and hit on the Oldsmobile after it was given Robert's clothing to use as a scent.
Oh, wow.
So that indicates that he was in there. They asked Robert's mother about the pharmacy receipt that they found, and she said it was likely his girlfriend's.
Okay.
So they contacted her. Her name was Kim Bowers, and she said it was hers because she said Robert had given her his jacket when she was cold a few days before his abduction.
The purest.
And she said that like hurts my heart.
Yeah.
And she told police the serial numbers on the receipt, and they matched. So they were like, okay, that checks out.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's time to talk to literally everyone Gacy knew. So they talked to
Which is a lot of
all
people.
his friends, all his family, all his coworkers, his neighbors. Most of them had nothing but nice things to say about him. That he was kind of a weird guy, kind of like an over-the-top guy. But in general, they were all like, yeah, we like him. He's cool. Like, we hang out. He's good. He's a hard worker, all that. So they also, Lieutenant Kozenzak also ordered 24/7 surveillance on Gacy now.
Which is very
So-
necessary.
Oh, yeah. So now cops are following him everywhere. And they're blatantly just sitting in his driveway in cop cars, like just watching him.
I love it.
I love it. And he was telling friends that he was being harassed and shit. And it was all like a misunderstanding. He was telling them, this is going to blow over. They're just trying to pin something on me.
No,
and
it's
some
not,
of them,
buddy boy.
Some of them believed him. Some of them were like, yeah, this is crazy. You're being harassed. So at this point, Robert's friends and family are really searching for him as well. They were handing out flyers, asking around. And remember, like we said in the beginning, he made the mistake of abducting a kid that had a lot of friends and family support around him. So
Right.
They were going hardcore. Helicopters were overhead searching forests and like the riverbanks. They were on it. Meanwhile, as this is going on, Gacy is unreal because he has hired defense attorney Sam, I think it's Amarante, and he decided to file a $750,000 civil lawsuit against the city of Des Plaines because he said they were causing him mental anguish and loss of reputation in the community, deprivation of his liberties, and loss of his personal property because they were taking
And
things
he
out of his house.
He thought he was going to get out of this spot free.
Oh, yeah. He thought he was not only getting out of it, but he was going to get out of it with money from a lawsuit.
Right.
And again,
that
he was-
really just goes to show what's
Yeah.
working upstairs.
Oh, yeah. And again, he's claiming that he's being harassed and abused.
Right.
And he said one of the things in the lawsuit was he wanted the surveillance in the investigation to cease immediately. The whole thing. He wanted it stopped.
Oh, of course he did, because he was like, shit.
And it's like, what an egotistical slice of shit. Like, you really think
Right?
that you can sit here and call the shots after you fucking murdered like 30-something kids? So Gacy starts fucking with the cops that are tailing him. So
What was he doing?
He'll drive aimlessly to make them follow him just like all over the place with no purpose at all.
He probably thought that was so funny, too.
Oh, yeah. And he does it at all times of night, and he's just being a dick. He also will just stand there and take photos of them. And like walk up to them and say weird shit. Like he'll say very incriminating things, but like do it in a jovial way because he knows they can't nail him on it. Like they'll say something about like a clown, and I think I say it at the end, but like he says something like, well, clowns can get away with murder. And like,
yikes.
What the
and
fuck?
It's like, actually,
and then,
you can't.
Yeah, and then he invites them in a lot. He'll be like, "Yo, you want to come in and have a sandwich?" Like he's just a dick. And so one morning, he invited Detective Robert Schultz and his partner in for breakfast. And the two guys were like, "You know what? We'll come in because we want to see what's going on." And they're like, "Sure, we'll come into your house." And Robert Schultz used the bathroom, and he said it was freezing outside because it was wintertime. And he says, so the heat kicked on. And he said, I'd already smelled in there. But he goes, when that heat kicked on, it blasted into that bathroom the unmistakable smell of rotting flesh. Because Detective Schultz was like, I've been to a morgue. I've smelled a rotting body several times.
Right.
That is an unmistakable smell, and that's what I smelled. And so, but
and
they
for
didn't...
him to just invite them in and be like, yeah, it's fine. Like, he knows that his place smells like death.
Oh, it's over the top. Like, over the top. Just, like, it's unbelievable. It really is. It's hubris of, like, the highest order.
It's just like something in his brain was like, you can do anything you want to do and you will get away with it.
And then you also wonder, like, did a part of him want to get caught?
I was just going to say that. I was literally about to say that.
Because
you're asking to get caught at that point.
You really are. And I wonder if he was like, I don't know. I wonder if it's like he was in over his head or he was getting tired of the lifestyle he was living.
I feel like probably not, but I think that's just like the sane part of our brains.
I know, I think so. And I wonder if it's like a subconscious part of him. Because I feel like that happens a lot with serial killers, is like a subconscious part where they don't even know it's active, wants this to end. Because it's like the human part.
I was going to say it's like the tiny little human sliver that's left in them.
Exactly. It's like that hairline of just humanity in there somewhere.
Yep.
So on the evening of December 21st, in the middle of the night, Gacy drove to his attorney's office, Sam Amarante, and the police officers followed him. They were like, what the fuck is he doing? So officers Mike Albright and Dave Hackmeister followed him, and they parked outside the office like they always do. But they thought this was weird. They were like, why is he suddenly driving to his lawyers? And while they were parked, Gacy like staggered into the office and just started confessing to his lawyer. Like just started like spouting, and he was clearly drunk, they said.
I was gonna ask that.
And so Sam Amarante comes out, and he says he walked up to the officers and he didn't know what to do. And he said he told them, don't let Gacy leave, block his car in, do anything you can to stop him from leaving if he tries.
His lawyer?
And he was like, I'm not going to tell you what he just said to me, but you need to keep him here. Like, don't let him just run. So he did end up leaving. He did end up getting in his car, but they didn't let him just leave. They followed him, obviously.
Like, what?
But they were like, we can't do that. Like, we can't just arrest him because you tell me that you want him to not leave. Like, we can't do that.
You could fuck up like the whole thing.
Exactly. Like, that would fuck us up. We could lose all of this. So they were like, all right, we just have to keep tailing him like we're doing. So he ended up going to a service station, and right in front of them sells pot to a kid. Right in front of them at the service station. And they're
maybe
like,
he is asking to get caught, actually. Maybe I take this back.
So they were like, okay. So they're like, well, we're not going to bust him on that because we need to see what else he does. Like, we're not just going to stop this because he sold some weed. Like, we need to get him on something else. So he leads them back to his house, and he just goes in the house, gets his dog, and brings his dog to the neighbor's house, where he tells them that he needs help taking care of the dog because he needs to figure out this whole thing. And he says, it's a big misunderstanding. I'm being pinned for something, but my dog doesn't like being alone that much, and I keep having to leave him. So can you please take care of him while I'm doing this? And his neighbors are like,
it's always so weird when serial killers, because like I can't think of another instance, but like with animals, sometimes they're so caring.
Yeah, it's very odd. It's like
that's so weird that he was like, my dog, like he doesn't like to be alone.
Yeah, exactly. Like, or that he had a dog at all. It's like, because a dog requires a lot of care. Yeah. And I guess the neighbor was like, yeah, sure, John. Like, of course we will. Because again, everybody loves John. We're not like, well, of course we're gonna help you. You're being railroaded, my brother. It's like they're all just like, sure. So the next morning, Gacy showed up at his friend. The last name is Zarna, I think. Zarna's. That's his neighbor's.
Okay.
And he said, "I've been a bad boy."
Ew, gross. No.
And he's looking like shit. He's like haggard as fuck. So his friend is like, I like, it was clear something was going on, and he was clearly at a breaking point. So he was like, "What do you mean you've been a bad boy?" And he's like, so he gives him a scotch.
He like slaps him across the face.
Yeah, and he's like, he's like, "Sit down on my couch. Tell me what the fuck you're talking about." So his answer is, "The end is near." And he's like, cool. And they're like, "So what's going on? Like, what do you mean? What are you saying?"
Please
and he's
elaborate.
like, "All right, they're trying to pin a murder on me." And he's like, "It's all bullshit." So his friend starts like pressing a little bit, and John gets frustrated, and he gets up and walks outside. So he's like leaving. So he's like, "All right, bye." And the friend said, as he was walking out, he said to him, "I thought you wanted to tell me something." Because that's like, he's like, "I thought you were here to tell me something, John." And then he turns back around, walks back inside, walks right up to his friend and says, "I killed 30 people, give or take a few." Like, just right out with it.
What? How do you even respond to that? Like,
so Zarna's like, "Okay, who are these people that you killed?" And he goes, "Bad people. Blackmailing me. They were going to blackmail me. They were bad people."
no.
That's what he said to him.
Not true.
And then he started to cry. So I'd be like, "Well, that's all for today, John. I think you need to leave.
You gotta dip right
You
out of this
gotta
house.
go. You gotta go,
You're
my
actually
friend."
not welcome anymore.
Yeah, so 10:55 a.m. he leaves his friend's house because he's just like shell shocked. Like, what do I do with this? And Gacy goes to Michael Rossi and David Cram's home. Those are the two guys, the teenagers that like lived with him at one point, that dug trenches for him and like spread lime for him at times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he tells Rossi, now the police are following them the whole time, so they're listening to him. And he says to Rossi, "I'm glad you could make it. Come inside. This is the last time you'll ever see me."
Oh.
So the police are already like, "Okay, what's happening?" So they talk inside, and they all end up coming out of the house, getting into a car. This is around 11:30 a.m. And before they leave, Gacy walks up to Officer Schultz in his car and said, "David Cram is going to drive me to a restaurant. But he's like, is that cool? Can he drive me there? Like, are you guys cool with that?" And the officers are like, "Yeah, we don't give a shit." So they're like, "Cool, we're going to follow you though." So they follow them. And David Cram, once they get to the restaurant, gets out, walks up to the police car and is like, "Hey, John wants to go to the cemetery to say goodbye to his father." So Officer Schultz is like, "Dude, he admitted to killing like over 30 people. Like we're pretty sure he murdered a lot of people, or he's at least saying he did. Like, that's crazy. He's probably gonna kill himself." Like, they were like, "I'm guessing this is what's happening." And they were like, "You might want to get out of this situation right now because this is gonna get bad.
Like, you might not want to drive him there."
Yeah, and so it's like, so Cram's like, "Oh, okay, cool." So he's like, "I'm gonna drive him anyways." So he gets in the car with him.
I'm just gonna be a good friend.
Yeah, he's like, "You know what? It'll probably be fine. We're just gonna go to the cemetery." So he gets in the car with him. He drives out of the parking lot, and immediately he is pulled over by the Des Plaines Police Department, the Cook County Sheriff's Department, and the Illinois State Department of Law Enforcement Division of Criminal Investigations.
Good. I'm glad.
Because while all this had happened, his neighbor there had called the police and been like, "He just told me he killed 30 people." And they had also been informed about the that drug sale that he did, the like pot sale that he did right in front of the officers. Yeah. Because now that they started having like him admitting to this, him acting like this, they were like, "You know what? We can arrest him on that charge, like the selling weed in front of us charge. Let's just do it so we can get him."
Right.
So they get him. He's arrested. So it's just, so he gets arrested for the pot charge. They don't have any body yet, so they're just sitting here just grasping at what they can. So he was held on $1,000 bail for possession of a controlled substance because he had the Valium. And he was also held on that, like the pot. So while he's held there, the pot, he's held on the pot.
He is held on the devil's lettuce.
He is held on the wacky tobacco. So, so the police are like,
You're like, that's enough.
You are being held here for smoking the reefer. So while he's held there, they go back to his house. And they told Gacy when they're going back, they're like, yo, we're going to rip up your floors because we're
like,
fairly
well...
certain. Yeah. They're like, we're looking for Robert Peist. We're going to rip up your fucking floors. So he got nervous, obviously, because John Wayne Gacy knows what's under his floors. So he's like, okay, yeah, you don't have to do that. Because you know what? I'm just going to come clean with you. I did kill a man once, but it was in self-defense. And he's not under my floors. He's buried in the garage. So they were like, he was like, so you don't have to rip up my floors. It's cool.
Don't worry about it.
Take my word like, you know what? He's like, I'll totally bring you to the part in the garage and you can dig it right up and this can all be over. And we can just... it was self-defense.
And I'll get off on self-defense. It's totally cool.
Totally fine. So they were like, cool. We'll dig this out. Like, we're definitely going to dig this up. But they were like, we're also going to look in your crawl space. And he was like, ah. So at 10 p.m., they got the medical examiner, Dr. Robert Stein, on the scene. Because
imagine
they were
also doing this at 10 p.m.
Yeah, and they called Robert Stein, like the medical examiner, and he's like, cool. Sure, I'll get out of bed and come look at this. Because and remember, right now, they think they're looking for a body. One body.
Singular.
They think at least one. So Dr. Stein actually aided in the scene at Jonestown. So he was like a big deal, this medical examiner.
That's bananas.
Yeah, he was legit. So Dr. Stein got all gowned up and they were like, you're going to have to go into a crawl space. So like, get your medical examiner bros, get some gowns and get over here. 'Cause we're going to send you under a fucking smelly house. And he was like, cool.
So like, he got all, I just ate dinner.
Yeah. He was like, super glad I chose this profession. So he got all gowned up. He went into the crawl space when he got there with like his aides that he brought. Immediately they noticed there is some bones that they believed belonged to one human being. So they were like, cool, we found the human. But they were also like, that is a very old body. Like, there is not flesh attached to this body. So they were like, that's not Robert. So everything else was buried. Everybody else was buried. But they were obviously getting suspicious because under there, they said the smell was overpowering. I mean, they said
I can't imagine.
They were like, this smell did not belong to one body. It did not belong to two bodies. And it certainly didn't belong to a skeletal body. So they were like, what's happening?
Because you think of how bad, I mean, I don't know, but you know how bad one singular body smells. Now, take that smell and multiply it by 33.
Yes.
That's
and then
insane.
Put it in an enclosed hot crawl space which
that
is
already
filled
smells
with moisture
like moldy
already.
And
yeah.
Gross.
It's just the worst of the worst. So they decide, you know what? We're going to further do this dig in the daylight because we need to be able to see.
Good call.
Like there's tiny bones. Like, we don't know what we're getting into here. So that same evening, while this is all going on, Gacy confessed to police that he killed 30-something teenage boys. Like, he was like, you know what? Here it is.
He was like, while I'm here.
He tells them, yeah, he's like, you know what? Since you're looking in the crawl space, let me just let you in on a little secret. There's some shit down there, and let me tell you. So he told them, he says, I raped them. He said he told them about the rope and the handcuff tricks. He told them about the rack. And he said he often murdered them by getting behind them and throttling them with a rope or a board. He said he buried them in the crawl space, and then he said he dumped at least 5 in the Des Plaines River because of spatial issues. So he said Robert Peist was among those who would be found in the river. So he was like, he's not in the crawl space. He then told them that, again, this is when they found out that while Lieutenant Kozenzak was at his home on December 12th, asking him to come down to the police department, that Robert Peist was in the attic.
Oh, that's
so
awful.
That must have been a gut punch. So this was all sounding insane. Because even at this point, they're like, he might just be crazy. Like, he might just be throwing this shit out to, like, I don't know.
Fuck with us.
Yeah. But
I don't even know.
Yeah, but then they find out that a tow truck driver named Bob Kirkpatrick had shown up at the bridge near the Des Plaines River on December 12th when he was going in to be questioned by the police. He showed up around 2 a.m. because he had to get John Wayne Gacy's truck out of the mud and the snow because it got stuck on that bridge near the Des Plaines River. So now they have a tow truck driver that's confirming the night he was coming in for questioning, when he didn't show up until 3 a.m. when he was covered in mud, he was out on the fucking bridge over the Des Plaines River covered in mud. So they're like, he did do it. Like, this is all being confirmed. Now, that afternoon, he was officially charged with the murder of Robert Peist. But they don't have a body. So they're holding him on this. They don't have it yet. Now, he kept confessing, and he's like letting it all go. It was rambling and crazy. But he is giving times and dates. Like, he's giving, but
it's
he's
so
very
crazy
hazy.
Too, that you can remember, like, the specific dates and, like, the times. You know what I mean?
Seriously, because I don't remember dates or times for anything.
Me
so
either.
It's fascinating to me that he can do this. But he is hazy on names because he just didn't really care about their names.
Well, and some of them he probably didn't even know their names.
Yeah. And he said, and they were like, why did you do this? And he's like, I killed them to keep them quiet. Like, they were going to tell what I did. So that's why I did it. And then he also admitted, watching them die makes me Sparky big time. So he then drew a map and a diagram of his property. And he said, this is where you're going to find all of them. Like, and he did a very accurate map. So they search. They find more of the sex toys, like the dildos that he used. They find the mirrors on the ceiling in the garage. They find the red light, the porn.
I can't imagine walking into all of that.
It must have just been a lot to take in.
And
they
can you imagine the therapy you would need after that?
Oh, yeah, because this was a really bad scene.
Like I understand you're like a first responder and, like, you've dealt with stuff of the like, but, like, really not of the like.
Oh yeah, I couldn't imagine. And this is an assault on all of your senses, because you're being assaulted on every level by just it's reeking of death. You're walking through just, like, thick air of death there. And so they also find out that he had soundproofed and insulated his garage. So this ended up being like an archaeologist dig. Like, they were slowly getting pieces of bones, hair, just all kinds of shit. Investigators called in Professor Charles Warren, who is a forensic anthropologist at the University of Illinois, and Dr. Edward J. Pavlik, a forensic odontologist.
Okay. So
they were both, like, leaders in their fields, and they were there for identification purposes, because they were like, we got a lot of bones, and we don't know how many people there are, and we don't know who they are. So Professor Warren found bits of forensic evidence like hair and clothing, small pieces of bone and, jaws and everything that they could use for blood typing and identification. And then Pavlik could work with dental offices and any jaw bones to search for dental records to aid in identification. So that's what they were trying to do at this point. Now, like we said, the scene was horrific, absolutely horrific. The smell was unbelievable. And because they had rotted in an enclosed space together for so long, all these bodies, the toxic gases being released from their decomposition, it was commingling with each other in this closed, dark space, like moist space. And it became dangerous. I mean, the gases that can be released from there are dangerous and noxious. So they had to wear full hazmat gear. Neighbors and witnesses on scene said they often would see someone staggering away from the home in full gear, pull off their protective face stuff, and just vomit all over the lawn, or just be sitting there gagging and, like, gasping for air.
Of course.
It was just hell. It was
and you're in full hazmat, and you're still experiencing a reaction like that.
Oh, yeah. And, like, walking outside just to throw up because it's so bad. Now, when the news broke, it went crazy, and families all around the area who had missing teenage boys were sitting there now waiting to see if their son was one of the bodies that was being excavated out of this house. So the news released a bit of the findings, like the high school ring, which had the JAS initials on it.
Yeah.
Well, that ended up being John. I can never say this name properly, and I feel bad. John Seeks. That's what it is. Seeks. John Seeks initials engraved on it.
Okay.
His parents were watching when they brought the ring up and said this has those initials, and they were devastated. Yeah, because they were like, that's his ring. And then they had held out hope at this point, and they were like, that's when I knew, like, he's one of those under there. Which I can't imagine being like, my child is rotting underneath this pig's home, and we just have to wait.
Because it's not even like he was murdered. Like, that's one step to get past. You could never get past that, but that's one thing to deal with. Handle.
Yeah.
And then to also deal with the fact that he's, like you said, been under this pig's house. I can't. That's horrible.
Just rotting like a piece of trash under this fucking pig's home while he just lives on top of him. Like,
that's a whole nother 10 steps of grief.
Oh, it's unbelievable. And so the pictures started to become worse and worse for investigators. And the scene at Gacy's home was compared to identifying victims from a massive airline crash. They said,
yeah,
because it was just fucking pandemonium. And there were so many of them. So they were also finding bodies stacked closely together in their graves. And investigators were beginning to see that some of these boys were killed, like we said in part 1 or 2, on the same day or within days.
Right.
And so he had called the times when he killed 2 in one day a double event. He would call it that. Like, that was my double event.
That's like what Dennis Rader would say. I'm surprised Dennis Rader.
It really is. Fucking Dennis. So they also began to notice that Gacy's DIY map that he drew for them was very accurate. Like, he remembered where everything was. And they also said that he had arranged the bodies where it looked like the spokes of a wheel. Like, it looked like they were arranged in a way like they were spokes coming out, like, to a wheel.
Did he ever, say that there was a purpose behind that?
He never said there was a purpose. But people on, like, the investigators and professionals on scene, like the medical examiner and stuff, were like, this looks very, like, a very,
methodical?
I can't think of the word. Yeah, like, methodical and just very purposeful. Like, this was done with purpose. So they set out identifying more, and they're laying bones and bodies along 30-something tables in a makeshift morgue that was set up. They had several forensic pathologists helping out Dr. Stein. They put together that Gacy tended to like victims to be young teenage boys on the thinner side, like thinner built, not like bigger. And he liked light-haired Caucasian teenage boys.
Okay.
So they all did share a similar look. Now, before the Christmas break that year, because this is right around Christmas, they got 5 bodies out of his home, and 1 was attributed to him from the Des Plaines River. So by 2 days after Christmas, they removed 10 more bodies.
Oh my God.
6 were removed the next day, and on December 28th, my birthday, 6 more bodies were taken out. So happy birthday.
Right.
28 bodies were now confirmed to be his murders, and he was at this point officially the most prolific serial killer in U.S. history, just by this point.
Bananas.
And they hadn't even found them all yet. He was already way past. So that same day, they added another one when James Mazzara was pulled out of the Des Plaines River with his underwear still jammed down his throat.
That's horrific.
Yeah. That always, stresses me out. So remember, this is a residential Leave It to Beaver neighborhood. And so neighbors and looky-loos are just gathering every day to watch dozens of dead bodies being removed from this home. And you can see footage. I mean, it's horrific. It's just people bringing out giant body bags. It is clear bodies are just being taken out of this house.
I wouldn't even want to live first of all, I can't imagine living next door or across the street or any neighbor. I wouldn't even want to live down the street or on a separate street near that.
And I guess a lot of them started feeling really shameful of living near him because they were like, we should have known. Why didn't we see anything?
It's not your fault, but you can understand why you would feel that way.
Yeah, you would feel maybe I should have thought. Yeah, I would wonder, why didn't I see anything? Am I that not am I really not observant like that? But it's not your fault.
I would move the fuck out of Chicago.
This whole thing was a a circus. It was craziness. News cameras were everywhere. There were people starting to harass the neighbors, and that's when people started going into like other neighbors' yards and being like, you must have seen something, you must have known, like, shame on you for not saying something. And like we all know, like in Dennis Rader's case, his whole fucking family didn't know. I mean, it's very possible that they hide well.
Right.
So according to The Man Who Killed Boys by Clifford Leindecker, one neighbor said they watched late one night as news crews with huge floodlights, like filming sheriffs taking things out of the house. And one sheriff's employee was taking a body bag out of or two of them were taking a body bag out of the home. And the news people yelled, "Go back, we're not ready yet." And they went back in the house with the body bag and then came back out to be filmed.
I'd be like, go fuck yourself? No. Like, this is not a news circus. This is somebody.
Yeah, like, this is not a fucking show. This is life. Like, this is someone's child that we're placing
We're not doing
out
this
here.
in takes. Go fuck yourself.
Like, fuck you. So now Gacy already had Sam Amarante on his defense team, and he added Robert Mata. And then on the prosecution side, Chief Deputy State's Attorney William Kunkel and Assistant State's Attorneys Robert R. Egan and Terry Sullivan went on board. So Gacy was indicted on 7 counts for the Robert Peist case. He was indicted on counts of kidnapping, sexual assault, indecency to a child, and murder. Mm-hmm. And again, the body of Robert had not been found yet. Gacy claimed he threw the boy over the bridge, like we said, but they were doing searches. They just weren't finding him. And now they were getting concerned that Gacy was lying and that maybe he buried him somewhere, because they were like, he was covered up in mud when he came to the police station that night.
He
that
didn't
he's
just
claiming
like toss
he
him
killed
over.
him. Exactly. And when they looked at the place where he got caught in the snow, they were like, it wasn't really muddy there. Like, why was he covered in mud? So they couldn't figure out, any of that, but they were like, you know what, we're just gonna have to keep looking. So they were doing like searches in the nearby forests near the Des Plaines River, because they were like, maybe he buried him in there. So January 4th, there was a huge service at a local church just to mourn the loss of the missing boys. And it was for anyone to come. So like over 300 friends, victims' families, residents, members of the community, church clergy, they all came to just have, pay their respects. January 8th, 7 more indictments for murder came down on Gacy for Butkovich, Godzik, Seek, Johnston, Langdon, and Mazzara. The prosecution decided they were going for the death penalty at this point.
Yeah.
Now, they demolished his home on April 10th, 1979. They ended up giving pieces of it to people who asked for souvenirs, like while they were demolishing it and taking it away. If you asked for a brick or like a piece of it, they would be like, here you go.
I would not want anything attached to that brick or dirt or branch or anything.
Yeah. It's one of those, it's like a very morbid curiosity thing to me where I feel very torn on those things, which
I understand it. Like, I could see why you would want it, but not me.
Yeah, it's between like respecting victims and their families, which I'm like, you don't want a piece of that because that's a piece of this heinous thing that happened to this family. And then on the other side is this weird morbid like curiosity I have. I'm always very torn with that. But I think it's good to err on the side of respecting victims' families personally.
Yeah.
So
I think there's certain things that are like okay for like morbid curiosity to take, but like other things it's like maybe sit that one.
Yeah. It's that's a hard line to rock. So he couldn't even show up for his hearing initially because security was such an issue. They were worried someone was going to murder him. And they were like,
just let it happen.
And he was only going to have to travel 20 miles. And they were like, we don't think we can protect him for that long. Like, literally, that's how bad it was. And so he was housed at Cermak or Cermak, I'm sure somebody will tell me, hospital under 24/7 guard watch. And he was actually the first inmate to receive that kind of security.
Wow.
He collected newspaper clippings of himself while there and kept them in a folder.
Weird.
He also found religion. He had Bibles. He said he prayed. Because they all try to play that card.
Sir.
No. I also found out that he was diagnosed with angina pectoris, which is what the heart condition is that makes him like faint and get. Because I was trying to find that out last time and I couldn't find it. Finally found it.
It's too bad it like never did the full job.
It didn't do the job, I know. So in April, there was a huge windstorm in Chicago and like fucked up a lot of stuff. People like died. I believe 2 people died in the windstorm. It was like that bad.
Wow.
Well, the wind may also have had a hand in dislodging something from the water. So a body was discovered after the day after above the locks of the Dresden Dam in the Illinois River. So a crane operator had seen the body just laying there. And they called the lockmaster, Dan Callahan, and he called police, and they identified the body of Robert Peist. So the wind had dislodged his body from the water. Wherever he was, he must have been caught somewhere near the shore and had like thrown him somewhere, like out in the open, which I'm like, wow.
That's like some spiritual shit. I'm not like a very religious person, but I feel like there's something that works together to make shit like that happen.
There's some magic happening there. That was like Mother Nature doing her job, I think.
You can't deny that.
Yeah. So his family immediately, I mean, that must have been, because they're always going to hold out hope, even though it looks like, you know, I'm sure they were probably sitting there trying to reserve themselves to the idea that John Wayne Gacy likely killed their son, but you're always going to hold that little shred of hope.
Of course.
But once they found his body, they were like, all right, we want to do something to honor him. So his family immediately founded the Robert J. Peist Foundation to, quote, recognize and support those individuals and organizations or activities committed to helping reduce crimes against children.
That's awesome.
So I love when families like do shit like that. They're like, I'm going to make lemonade out of lemons.
Well, to have the strength to do that in such a awful, terrible situation.
Yeah.
It's
to
really
make something
remarkable.
Positive. Yeah. To make something positive out of a really, really negative situation. Mm-hmm. So January 10th, he entered a not guilty plea. LOL.
That's Annie's birthday. Happy birthday.
Hey, there you go. And this is 79, by the way. They also tried to get him released on bond. And obviously that was rejected. Yeah, the judge was like,
why
no.
even try? Like, don't waste your time.
Oh, these defense attorneys, I realize they're doing their job. I understand that. But knowing what you know, it's really frustrating to hear them try to get this guy freedom. It's like, no, he needs to be behind bars. They also wanted to try the insanity defense, of course.
You would hope that he was insane.
Yeah, which...
I think I said that in the first part.
Yeah, you did. And it doesn't look like he was. So
he wasn't, no.
Dr. Robert A. Reifman, who is the director of the Psychiatric Institute of the Circuit Court of Cook County, he said the defendant was mentally fit to stand trial. So his lawyer claimed, his lawyer, Sam Amarante, was like, well, he drifts in and out of different personalities while we're talking. And like, he blames this personality named Jack for the murders. And he says that Jack's the one who did all this. Like, I think he has multiple personalities. Like, I think
he just knew what he was doing.
Yeah. And they were like, yeah, no, that ends up falling apart later. So, during trial, he was happy as a fucking clam. Like, totally happy. Just sitting there like, whatever. Like, didn't give a shit.
That's real weird.
The only time he ever even, like, flinched was when they mentioned that they were going for the death penalty. And he looked like, oh, fuck. Like, that's the only time that he looked, like, startled.
It became real.
But at one point, he would like, turn around while they were doing jury selection and just, like, look at the crowd behind him and just, like, smile at people. And he actually tried to hit on a woman sketch artist who was there doing sketches for her. Like, he, like, started trying to hit on her.
What?
And she was like, no, thank you, sir.
She's like, I'm actually busy for the rest of my life. It's so weird.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm actually leaving the planet, so sorry.
Yeah.
So the prosecution went hard and went into gruesome detail about the murders. Like, they were like, we are going to show you that this is a fucking evil man. Like, I'm sorry, but you're going to hear some shit. So,
imagine getting jury
and they
duty
wanted
for
to
that
show,
case.
Woof. And they wanted to show, like, the callousness of John Wayne Gacy. That's what they really wanted to show. This, at one point, they said, like, because one of the workers at the home was like, if the devil is alive, he lived here. Like, they were literally like, this man is the fucking devil. So apparently Gacy had bragged, and they brought this up in trial, that when Greg Godzik was working for him before he murdered him, he said, funny, the kid unknowingly dug his own grave one day.
That's not funny at all.
Isn't that the most fucked up shit you can think of. I mean, that's
Yes.
fucked up. He had this kid dig a trench in the crawl space, and he told him he was doing it so he can move pipes into there. That ended up being where he buried him.
That's
Like,
some twisted, fucked up, sadistic
that's so
shit.
beyond. That's so beyond. And the victims' families all got up on the stand. They gave like harrowing testimonies, talking about like, you know, that they were walking on the streets trying to find their missing children, that like, you know, just giving all those victim impact statements that you need. Des Plaines police detective David Hackmeister recalled that a few days before they arrested Gacy, they said he walked up to some of the people that were the officers that were doing the surveillance on him. And this is when I mentioned this earlier. He said I think they were talking about Pogo the clown. Like the officers were like, "So you're a fucking clown?" And he was like, "Oh yeah." And they're talking about it. And he goes, "You know, clowns can get away with murder." And he said it right to them. And
Like, you didn't think that was gonna come back to haunt you later?
And that got brought up, of course. And it's, in fact, they also were talking about how clowns, professional clowns in that area were losing work when this all came out, because parents didn't want clowns around their kids, because they were like, what the fuck? Which I feel bad for, like, professional clowns of that area, because they're like, we're not all fucking brutal.
Or like, we actually just want to spread joy to your children.
We literally just want to make your kids happy. It's like, but I get it. Like,
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
If I was a parent, I'd be the same way.
But I'm like, wow, poor clowns.
Yeah,
so
it's catch-22.
Yeah. So Dr. Thomas Alicio, who is a clinical psychologist from Rockford, said that Gacy was very bright, very intelligent. And he said that he would probably rank among the top 10% of the population in intelligence.
Wow.
Which is interesting. And he also said that he thought he was borderline schizophrenic. He wasn't going to diagnose him as schizophrenic, but he said he was borderline. He said, quote, "He was a person who on the surface looks normal, but has all kinds of neurotic, antisocial, psychotic illnesses." I don't agree with that. And
I was just going to ask you that.
Yeah. A lot of people don't. A lot of other like clinical psychologists don't. They also, because they brought a ton of doctors and clinical psychologists because they were really trying to get that insanity defense. So they brought in Dr. Richard Rappaport, who was a psychiatrist and a professional witness for like this kind of thing. And he had sat in for 65 hours of interviews with John Wayne Gacy. And he said after all that, he said he is not psychologically ill. And he said there is no evidence of brain disorder or disease. He's just a fucking evil guy.
That's terrifying.
So they brought in Dr. Leonard L. Heston, who's a professor of psychiatry. And he actually had examined Gacy during his sodomy conviction. So they brought him back for this. And he agreed.
Not cool, but like, wow.
But he was like, I've seen this guy before. I know what he's capable of. And then he was like, he's sane as fuck. He's just evil.
It was like redemption for him to be like, Jesus Christ, please listen to me this time.
Yeah, like I said it earlier, I say it again.
Right.
And then they brought, who we discussed in part 2, I believe, Robert Donnelly, who was the 21-year-old who Gacy, let me remind you, and by the way, trigger warning, this is real bad. Gacy brutally raped him, tortured him. I mean, this kid took the stand and had to describe that he was beaten, he was assaulted, he was raped to the point of unconsciousness several times. He was, Gacy played Russian roulette with him.
Oh my God. Is he the one that threw up on the stand?
No, that's Jeffrey Rignall.
Oh, okay.
They bring him back up. But, and they use, that he used an array of different sized dildos on this poor man. Gacy held his head underwater in a bathtub until he passed out. Finally dropped him off in an alley after all of this and told him not to go to the police because he was like, you won't be believed anyway.
And that happened.
And he went to the police and he wasn't believed. So cool. And while he was on the stand, he broke down like several times and then he started to scream, "This is hell. This is hell." Like he literally was. And when you see the physical reactions that are happening from his survivors, you're like, what is that house? Like that house, what happened in that house must be beyond what any of us can conjure up.
No.
Because this poor kid is literally like this 21-year-old kid, like normal adjusted kid, after what happened in that house, is sitting there screaming and sobbing and saying, "This is hell. This is hell."
It's your absolute worst nightmare times a million, I would assume.
It truly is. And this is when they brought Jeffrey Rignall onto the stand, and he told his tale about being raped. And he's the one who said that somebody else was in the room, he believed.
Oh, I was going to ask you that. I didn't know if it was the boy that testified before.
Yeah, this is, and he's the one who said, I mean, he had the same kind of stuff done to him. He was put in the rack. And when he was on the stand during this is the guy who ended up throwing up on the stand, and they had to recess the jury. They literally had to like carry him out because he was like absolutely falling apart.
That's awful.
Yeah. So then they brought Dr. Arthur Hartman, who is the chief psychologist of the Psychiatric Institute of the Cook County Circuit Court. He went on the stand and he was like, you know what? I think that John Wayne Gacy totally understands that his actions are wrong. He totally understands what he's doing. He is sane, but he goes, I think he is psychotic, and I think he's sexually deviant.
Yeah.
So he said,
clearly.
And he was saying basically he has a personality disorder. He does not have a psychological illness. Like those are two very different things. And he said because they were trying to argue, the defense was trying to say he had psychotic breaks, temporary insanity every time he killed someone. That's basically what they were trying to argue.
That's very convenient to happen 33 times.
Well, this guy was like, no one suffers from 33 moments of temporary insanity to this level. Like, no one does that. So he also said, I sat with him. He did the fucking multiple personality thing with me. It's fake as fuck. Like, he was like, I can spot that a mile away. He was like, what people don't understand. Well, he was like, what people don't understand is they think that they know what multiple personality disorder is. So they think they should just fade into different personalities. And that we're going to be like, whoa, you really have it. Right. And he's like, but what people don't understand is that people who legitimately suffer from multiple personalities, they don't remember the events when another personality takes over. So they would be like, oh, that was Jack. I don't know what Jack did. Right. Because I'm not Jack. Like, I'm John. And I don't recognize who that person is. But when John Wayne Gacy is telling everybody, well, Jack did this, he's going, well, then Jack took the garrote and he did this, and then Jack raped this boy and Jack did this, and he's like, well, that's all well and fine, but you wouldn't know what Jack did, because if Jack took over control of your body and your mind, you're not you. So why would John know what Jack did? He wasn't there.
He's like, you can call yourself Jack, but you're still John.
Well, and that's, I think the jury was like, oh shit. I think that's when it made it very clear, like, it's very easy to fake multiple personality disorder, but it's very easy to spot when you are trained for it. And he was basically being like, he should have read more about it because he did the classic fuck up with it.
He's like, basically all around, this guy sucks.
Basically, he's a fucking idiot, even though he's really smart, but that sucks.
And a fraud.
So that jury went for deliberations for 2 hours. Only 2 hours.
It even took that long.
For a murder conviction, though, of this magnitude, 2 hours is not a long time.
Yeah.
They came back and found him guilty. And when he was let out of the courtroom, he smirked and winked at the deputy sheriff. As he was let out after being convicted of 33 murders.
Yeah, he just doesn't give a shit.
Also, they were thinking initially of trying to do separate trials for each victim. Mm-hmm. But they were like, it's going to cost a shit ton, and we just want to get... And I think the victims' families were like, I just want him gone.
We just wanted this over with.
Yeah, we don't want to sit through all this. Now, during sentencing, Kunkel, for the prosecution, said, quote, that John Wayne Gacy was, quote, competent, he was a skillful torturer and a murderer. And then he said, quote, if you allow this evil man to walk this earth, then God help us all. Because he was telling them... He was saying, do the death penalty.
Right.
And then he said, quote, if this is not an appropriate case for the death penalty, then there is no death penalty in Illinois. This is a case that cries out not only for the voices of 33 dead, but the voices of 33 families. But yes, the voices of every single citizen of the state. And that voice says, John Gacy, enough, enough. Mm-hmm. So they had 2 more hours of deliberation, under 2 hours of deliberation for the sentencing. came back, death penalty for John Wayne Gacy.
Good.
Now, he went to prison. He seemed to be fine in prison. He painted a lot. There's a lot of John Wayne Gacy art floating around in the world right now.
He painted clowns, right?
He did paint clowns. He would paint a lot of like self-portraits of himself outside of clown makeup and also as Pogo. He also did a lot of weird Disney like paintings, like the Seven Dwarves and like
That's like Ed Kemper reading like children's books.
it's very strange.
Yeah.
And I think like 2 business guys bought a bunch of his paintings at one point just so they could buy them and do like an auction to raise money for the victims' families just so they could destroy them. Like they paid a shit ton of money for them just to destroy them. Like
That's
just
incredible.
To be like, fuck you.
I
Isn't
love
that cool?
Yeah.
But like you can, they're in a lot of places. He would also answer like surveys and stuff, like which you can find. We'll try to post a couple if I can find them, because his answers are very strange to some questions. But July 14th, 1980, artist and professional and renowned facial reconstructionist Betty Pat Gatliff reconstructed the faces of the unidentified victims, because right now there's a lot unidentified. So she painstakingly reconstructed these, and they were like beautiful busts of just all these boys. And the Cook County medical examiner Robert Stein, who was part of the case, tried to convince, so they did a press conference where they unveiled all these and were like, does anyone know who these boys are? And they were wondering for a while, like, why more families hadn't come forward. They were like, why do we have all these unidentified boys? I mean, they're teenagers. And they were like trying to figure out if usually missing kids of this age, they're gonna have a family.
It's cleared up right away.
Yeah, so Dr. Robert Stein went on this press conference and he tried to convince families to come forward, because he was like, I think he was basically like, I think they're not coming forward because they think that their kids were associated with Gacy somehow, or associated themselves with Gacy. And it had a lot to do with like, the gay lifestyle. They were basically like, we don't want to admit that our boys were possibly getting into some like sexual thing with this older man.
But like they might not have been. That doesn't mean that all of these people were.
Well, and that's the thing. So at the press conference, Dr. Robert Stein said, after they unveiled the faces, he said, quote, "There is no evidence that an individual child here participated in any sexual deviant practices."
Yeah.
So he was trying to be like outwardly like, we think these kids were abducted. Like, please do not think that your child had anything to do with this, and like, please come forward because we want to identify them.
Claim your child.
And Robert Stein actually was like such a fucking like champion for these kids.
He sounds like it.
He made it his duty to identify these boys. Like, so there were 9 donated brown caskets that they used for the boys, for the unidentified remains. They put yellow mums and daisies in a semicircle outside Abbey Chapel of Oak Ridge Glen Oak Cemetery. They had a service with they had a service for the 9 unidentified victims, like a full service. And then each one is buried in a separate cemetery with its own, it had its own graveside service, each boy. Like, they made sure to make it, he wanted this to happen. And they each got its own marker that say, quote, "We remembered."
Wow.
So they don't want, and then he's quoted as saying, quote, "I don't want to see you go to your final resting places as just numbers."
Yeah, that's
which it's like
great.
What a fucking guy! Like, you're
that's
just
really
and it's
touching.
Like, that is a death investigator. Like, that is what a medical examiner should be. Like, that is your whole job, is to fight for someone who cannot fight for themselves anymore. Like, that's your whole job. And that's to see him be like, I'm gonna fight for these kids not to have to go to their graves unidentified forever. Like, they will not be, this won't be the final place. It's like, you're such a badass. And what's awesome is some of these boys have been identified. So I'm going to skip ahead and then I'm going to go back to the fun part about John Wayne Gacy dying.
Okay.
So, because I want to skip forward and just say some of these boys were identified as a result of this hard work. So November 9th, 2011, DNA identified 19-year-old William George Bundy. So he was identified through DNA. July 19th, 2017, DNA from a brother and sister identified 16-year-old victim Jimmy Hakinson. So they gave their DNA. It was able to match up with the DNA they collected, and they were able to identify him. So they have 2 more identified. So that's huge. Now, going back, so Gacy's in prison. You know, he's painting fucking portraits. He's talking to people. He's being a dick. He's claiming that there was accomplices, that he didn't do all this by himself. He's trying anything at this point. So on May 10th, 1994, at age 52, he was executed at 12:58 a.m. at Stateville Correctional Center.
Bye.
His last meal was 12 deep fried shrimp, a bucket of original recipe chicken from KFC,
I'll never eat it the same.
French fries, and a pound of strawberries.
A pound of strawberries?
Yeah. And his last words, kiss my ass. Those were his last words.
What a gem.
What a fucking gem.
What an absolute upstanding member of society.
Gacy keeping it classy till the very fucking end. Like, good riddance. So I think the last thing I just wanted to mention was the accomplices thing, because that is a theory that has been floating around. I don't think so. I mean, if he had accomplices, maybe the teenage boys like didn't know what was going on but had an idea and maybe just dug trenches for him because they were like, we don't want to die.
Yeah.
I don't know if he had, but Jeffrey Rignall does say that he thought somebody else was in the room.
What do you think about that?
To me, I can't discredit that. If he thought he saw someone in the room, it's like maybe someone was in the room.
Here's my takeaway. I think he's like trying to say that he had accomplices in the murders. I wonder if the accomplices were like people that joined, like they thought it was like some kind of sex ring or something like that.
Yeah.
But they weren't involved in the murders.
That's what I wonder. I wonder if they were involved up to a point and then he took the final plunge. Because he was very open about the fact before. He did a Ted Bundy. He switched his tune and then all of a sudden was like, what? I don't know anything about this. You're like, fuck you, dude. They were found in your house.
Already said you did.
Yeah, like, and they were all found in your fucking crawl space. Like, get the fuck out of here, dude. Like, no one just crawled into your house and buried all these bodies. Like, get out of here.
You're done.
And he'll have you believe that. He will have, I've seen interviews with him where he's like, yeah, I came in and Michael Rossi and David Cram had just murdered this kid. And I was like, what's going on? And then I left and then I came home and he was gone. They must have buried him in my crawl space. And it's like, are you seriously trying to think? You really think people are going to believe that? You dumbass.
But he did. He absolutely believed that.
For a real smart guy, you're real dumb. So,
yeah. Or he just thinks that everybody else is dumb.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. So there is one that does raise a big flag. The murder of Robert Gilroy. Gacy was in Pittsburgh when Robert Gilroy disappeared on September 15th, 1977, and it is confirmed by plane tickets. So that's something he was found in the crawl space, but
yeah, I don't know.
So that to me says, did he have an accomplice for the abduction part? Like, did maybe these teenagers help him lure other teenagers, and maybe that's how it happened? Then when he came home, he murdered Robert Gilroy. But
or do you think somehow the Pittsburgh timeline just got fucked up?
I don't know. I don't know if it got fucked up. I think maybe, I don't know. I really don't. I think he's the main guy, but maybe he intimidated some teenage boys around him into helping him get people into his grasp. That's what I think.
Very eerie.
It is. But that is the sordid tale of John Wayne Gacy.
You did a wonderful job.
Whew, that was a doozy. Sorry these are so long, guys, but I can't do it.
We're almost at an hour and a half. Wow.
Sure are.
That felt way faster. I was like, oh, that was only like 45 minutes.
Yeah, it did. It felt really fast. That was weird.
Damn. Time flies when you're doing this.
When you're really grossed out and horrified.
Yeah.
But I think before we leave you, I think we want to just say thank you to some Patreons, because this episode is basically sponsored by them.
Yeah, so that's the truth. And thank you too. I'm so sorry if I messed your name up. I'm going to say Ton Fernandez.
Ton Fernandez.
It's Tiahn.
Tiahn?
Tiahn.
Yeah, Tian?
I literally didn't hear a word you just said.
You know what? I like the spelling, and I wish I knew how to pronounce it.
Yeah.
But it's awesome, and you're awesome.
You're the best. Next is a Madonna named Allison.
Allison, so hot right now.
And then Glory Creed.
Glory Creed, thanks for making this episode possible.
Yeah. Kayla Rabe, thank you.
Kayla Rabe, thank you.
Ashley Colpitt, thank you.
Ashley Colpitt, you're the best.
Murphy Nobles, which is like a really cool name, and also you have great hair in your picture, so thank you.
Murphy, that's a
this
great
is a
name.
Pretty
thank you
name.
for this episode.
Thank you for this episode. Next name is so pretty, Rosemary Watson.
Ooh, I love
that.
The name
Rosemary.
Oh, Rosemary, thank you so much.
Thank you. Another Madonna, Stephanie.
Stephanie, so hot right now.
So hot right now. Next up is Caitlin Ward. Yes.
I thought it was Word, and I was like, Caitlin Word.
I know,
Caitlin
I realized
Ward.
it sounded like that. Thank you, Caitlin
Thanks,
Ward.
Caitlin Ward.
Next is, I'm sorry if I fuck your name up. This is a Madonna McGrief, I want to say.
McGrief. So hot right now.
Thank you. And that is all the Patreons that this episode is brought to you by.
We couldn't do it without you guys. We appreciate you so much.
And you'll have a Patreon episode coming out this week, so stay tuned for that. I've been deep diving into a really intricate case.
Yeah, so hold on to your butts.
What? In the meantime, you can follow us on Instagram.
At Morbid Podcast.
Follow us on Twitter.
A Morbid Podcast.
Hit us up on the Gmail.
morbidpodcast@gmail.com.
Donate to the Patreon if you are feeling so inclined.
Patreon.com/morbidpodcast.
And you can follow us on Spotify, where podcasts are free to listen to. You do not need a premium membership, so go follow us there.
Do it, Spotify.
We hope you keep listening.
And we hope you
keep
it
weird. But not so weird that you try to pretend to have multiple personality disorders, and then the multiple personality disorder guy is like, that's not right, Jack, or John, or whatever your name is. And it's just like, you can't really lie about everything. And don't keep it so weird that you eat a pound of strawberries at once, because I feel like that's probably not normal, especially if you eat original recipe chicken and shrimp with it and whatever French fries. Like, that's just not good. And don't keep it so weird that your last words are kiss my ass, because that's actually pretty disrespectful and you shouldn't say that. Bye.
Rude. I also feel bad for the person who did his autopsy if they did it, because that's a stomach. That's some stomach contents.
That's something. Anybody that was associated with him in any way, I'm so sorry.
Me too. So bye.
Bye.